Talkin' Country.
You're listening to Talkin' Country with Paul Taylor.
Hi, welcome to my channel, Talking Country, where we'll be chatting to the stars of country music from around the world, whether it's in Nashville, Australia, UK, Ireland. You'll get it here first. If you like us, subscribe and give us the big thumbs up. Hopefully you enjoy it.
My mama told me right from wrong. She said, knowing where you're going depends on where you're coming from. Track of everything I know. I didn't hear the voice in my ear saying you're too far from home. Where do you go when your eyes are closed and all you are is left behind? You look inside yourself, you reignite yourself. Seek and you shall find. I shouldn't have played the games I played. Just look at the mess I made. One mistake is all that it takes. Now I'm stuck in the mess I made.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the brand new single by Kezia Gill, and that's The Mess I Made. And like I say, every week, we're very, very fortunate to have the artist on the line, all the way from Derby. How are you doing, Kezia?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you. I know it's a bit of hectic at the moment with all lockdown easing and things starting to move a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how, but I feel busier now than I was when we went into lockdown.
I know. I was just saying off air that I did my 5th gig in a matter of like 4 weeks last night. And I'm thinking back and going, was I this busy before lockdown? I don't know. But
it's just crazy. I think because a lot of the shows that I'm playing at the moment, I was supposed to play last year.
Yeah.
Plus, obviously, there's new bookings as well. So you're trying to cram 2 years worth of work into one short summer. And it's certainly picked up pace, that's for sure.
Well, it's a career that's gone from strength to strength, and from afar, I've been looking at your career, you know, and we've been playing your music as well on the radio platforms. And The Mess I Made is a great track as well. And was that born out of being in lockdown and coming up with new ideas?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, at the start of lockdown, I didn't really do much writing at all. It sort of took me a good 6 or 7 months, you know, and then I was like, right, I don't think anyone's going to be going out and playing anytime soon, so I'm going to sit and do some writing. And I just sort of put this collection of songs together. The Mess I Made was one of the first songs that I wrote. I loved the kind of soulful styled, it's more of a soulful country, and it was something I really wanted to explore, a little bit more of an Americana vibe. And it kind of grew from there. I mean, The Mess I Made became the title track of the EP, which I brought out in June, again called The Mess I Made. But it was all born from this song and this idea that no matter where you go wrong in life, you're always big enough to say, do you know what, I made a mistake, but I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to grow. And I feel like music's a bit like that. You never know everything, you're always learning. And it's a bit of a double entendre, really, because this little collection of songs is the mess that I have made. So it has a couple of meanings. But yeah, writing through lockdown was very therapeutic.
It is interesting because, like I said, as artists as we are, I used to get more out of people who had a negative comment than people who had a positive comment, because you don't know whether they're being positive to be nice or whether the negativity, the ones who come up and being negative towards you, you think, well, I'm going to learn from that. And I always think, after every gig, is there something that you can do better? And the same with the songwriting, I would imagine, for yourself is, can they make that song better next time by doing something different?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, you could get 999 wonderful comments, and it's just that one negative one that always stands out.
Yeah.
Same with, you could do a run of great shows and you have one bad gig, and that's the one that you actually learn from. That's what makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And it's the same in life. We're all human, we all make mistakes. And at the end of the day, making a mess is fine, but how are you going to change? How are you going to grow? How are you going to learn? And that's what we're all capable of. So I think it's a song that's relatable to everybody, no matter what you do.
And it's interesting you mentioned Americana, because I think certainly the latter part of your career up to where we are now, there is a definite Americana feel to your music, and I think it's very much in vogue at the moment, Americana. I mean, a great friend of mine and friend of the show, Rob Vincent, he's always Americana. He's such great music. And and I've said this to a few artists, and again, please take this as a compliment, that it's a kind of music that can fit in anywhere, where if you're having a coffee in Starbucks and it's in the, the pipe music, and you can listen to it there and you're comfortable listening to there, or you can be at a live venue, you can listen to it there. And I think Americana has that reach.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And as well, I mean, I absolutely love country music. I was born and raised on country music, but I love so many other different styles as well. Rock and blues being hugely predominant, and soul and Motown as well. So for me to be able to just slightly broaden my horizons with regards to what genre I'm singing in, I'm still very much a country singer, and I'll always love country music, but exploring with Americana has allowed me to really play with the blues and play with soul. And it's an exciting journey, because I never know what's coming next. But that's the beauty of music. There's no rules with it.
Yeah, a friend of mine come up with a term, Ash Cooper. I don't know if you know Ash from Birmingham. He's a great band and one of Wayne's many, many friends. And we've been hanging out a little bit, camping out when it was safe to do so and stuff. He just brought out an EP called Million Ashes, but he's called it, and I've never heard this term before, genre neutral.
I love that.
Isn't it great? That is amazing phrase. And I went, yeah, and again, Americana can actually do that, and I think like so the big stations, Radio 2, Bob Harris and all that, love the Americana, and they seem to, Bane Leno. Is it Bane Leno? Yeah, he's right, very much into that kind of genre, as they say. But no, it's great, and it's not one that you can line dance to, but it's one of them things, isn't it, that music appeals to everybody. No, I think it's a great career move, though.
Yeah, I just think it enables me to really use the full range of my vocal, of my musical composing ability. And it doesn't really I'm releasing music at the moment under the genre singer-songwriter. Because I don't want any walls or any boundaries. I just want to write songs and sing them. And the overwhelming response from the fans has been really positive. and they've said, look, you know, we will follow you whatever you do, because we love your music, we love your sound, we love the stories that you tell. Because songs at the end of the day, if written correctly, are just stories that people come to love. So it's really lovely that people have been so supportive of this little shift in career path. Yeah.
So how did it all start for you? When was that light bulb moment from being I would imagine a young girl, because it says on your bio 15, 16 years it all started. Well, you don't look that old.
I started young, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that I get asked this question so often, and the truth is there was no light bulb moment, because it was just always there.
Yeah.
My father was a professional singer-songwriter his whole life, and I grew up around music. There was always instruments in the house, and really I was singing at the same time as I was learning to talk. So I never ever remember a time in my life when I wouldn't sing.
Wow.
There's photographs as far back when I was sort of 5 or 6, and I'd want to get up on stage and just do what Dad did. That's all I wanted to do. So then sort of growing up and getting to sort of 12, 13, I really got sort of interested in wanting to learn the guitar. And I remember I used to take it to school with me, and I used to do lessons in the music room. And that I remember that was as early as sort of 11. Started writing music in sort of year 9, year 10, so 13, 14. And then I started doing paid gigs at 15. I wasn't even old enough to be in some of the bars that I played, but that was the beauty of having a dad that knew all the landlords. And just started young. And, you know, it was funny when all my friends were out playing football and playing with their Tamagotchis and Pokemons. I was, you know, down the dog and duck playing an Irish session. It was brilliant. But I learned very young, and I've always loved it. I've never really done anything else, never wanted to do anything else. Yeah. So it's just always been a part of me.
It's brilliant. And again, awards started to come along as well, wasn't there? And over the last few years as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it's always lovely when you start to get recognised. I mean, I actually personally thought I'd got too old for all that. If you look at people like Billie Eilish, you know, coming out at 17, 18, and you know, these young pop stars, and I was like, oh, I'm too old now. And, you know, country music isn't really a genre where I'm going to get well known. And it was just literally one fluke performance through a meeting of sort of networking and knowing different people on the scene. I got asked to play the Horizon stage at the Buckle and Boots Festival back in 2018. Wow. The Horizon stage being sort of a showcase that the BCMA would put on. It just allows up and coming talent to sort of just do a few songs. I had a half an hour set, and that changed my life, because from that I then got nominated for the People's Choice Award, which I went on to win. And then 2 years later, I won Best Female at the British Country Music Awards. I've toured Australia. I'm headlining Buckle and Boots this year, and it was just that small half-hour performance that completely changed the course of things. And I hope the ball is just going to keep rolling, because I'm just loving the journey.
Well, the foundation is there. I mean, it certainly sounds as though the strong foundation for a good career has already begun, really.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think it's so important. I mean, one of my real pet hates is when you watch these talent shows and people stand up there and they say, oh, I want to be a singer. And I think, well, you can't want to be a singer. You just be a singer. It's as simple as that. You know, well, I've done gigs where I probably, by the time you add up my petrol and everything, I've actually lost money, but I'm doing what I love, and you learn your craft. It's like anything. I mean, I would say the first 7 or 8 years of my sort of professional working life, up until about the age of 25, I like to look back at that as my apprenticeship. It's when you learn your craft. You do, you know, those terrible gigs, you do the great gigs, and you work from the ground up, so that then when these opportunities come knocking, you're ready for it. And, you know, I'm 33 now, I'm no spring chicken in the grander scheme of things, but I feel like my whole life has ultimately led me to where I am today. And I am so ready, whatever is around the corner.
Well, it's like you said, you mentioned Buckle of Boots. We're just speaking a little bit off air, then I'll be there on the Sunday. So I didn't think you was going to be there. So I'm going to catch your early performance, which will be brilliant. But I've never been before, and you were saying how good it was, and we're in for a ball. So, but I'm really made up. I've got like some Morgan Way coming in for a chat, say T-Bay. and people like that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather's okay.
Oh, do you know what? It's going to take more than a bit of rain to dampen the
Absolutely,
the
that's a good.
crowd.
That is a good spirit. Do you know you're on about? Obviously, where you're going to be singing is in like this marquee on Sunday morning. It reminds me of a time. The last time I went to Florida with the family, and I said to the kids, right, for most of the 2 weeks, it's all the theme parks. But I found out there was a country music festival just outside of Orlando, in between Orlando and Tampa, called Plant City, with all the Mexican farmers. Have you been?
I've heard of it.
Oh yeah, and it's like a college ball in the middle where they put on the like Sir Terry Clark and Vince Gill and all them, and then they had all these tents and marquees around it where like the bluegrass people were in, and they were doing strawberry shortbread because obviously it was a strawberry picking. Strawberry shortbread was like the star of the whole week, you know. But I've never seen rain like it in my life. And I said, I don't care. I'm all the family's underneath this big ledge where all the clock is, you know, on the American football kind of stadium, college ball. I'm in this deck chair and there's water 2 inches above my ankle. I'm not moving. I've got my video camera. I says, right, Terry Clark, come on, entertain us. There's probably about a third, if no, I wouldn't even say it was a third full. Everybody thought, so this, I'm going back in the tent. But but I was like, and she came out and did an amazing, I think she even did thunder rolls, you know, because there was a bit of thunder in the cloud, you know. But I haven't, even the window screen wipers going back to the hotel weren't having it, you know. But I just pray it's not there. And Gary Quinn and the boys have a great weekend, because I've known Gary for a number of years, doing a little spot in the Woolstock.
Okay.
Yeah, you must have done well. You must have been to Woolstock.
I haven't done it, but it is notorious.
Jim Duncan and the guys.
That's it. Yeah.
I've actually been fortunate to play there a few times, but kept hearing this music. I thought, I went round these trees, and there's little Gary Quinn on a little stage, on a little marquee, like that, you know. And ever since we bought a CD, and ever since then, big, you know, became friends, and great thing. So he's doing a great job. But the link is Phil Vassar, who I know Gary's a major mate of Phil, and I think he brought him over on the first Buckle and Boots. But you had the great opportunity to be on stage with him. Yeah,
well, that was one of those instances that led up to me playing the Horizon slot for the BCMA. The way it happened, Phil Vassar was coming over to do a little tour of the UK, and as often what happens is they put a UK band together to back the artist, and it was the drummer in the band that had met me at Quick Draw Festival down in Northampton, and he basically mentioned my name and said, look, if you're looking for support, this girl writes her own stuff, she's a bit up and coming, I think should be a good shout. So Gary Quinn got in touch with me, and he said, would you be interested? It's in Glasgow. And I was like, yeah, why not? So we did the 6-hour drive, and I got to open up for Phil, and he is the most genuine guy. He's so down to earth, and I'm very pleased to say we are now great friends ourselves. When every time we go over to Nashville, I'll give him a text, and he's like, come up to the house. And as you can imagine, it's something only us mere mortals could dream of, but he's such a lovely guy, and he does genuinely care about what you're up to and what you're doing. Like, he'll always give you a text at Christmas, and we'll always text at Thanksgiving. He really is genuine.
I know he's been on the show. I just reached out to his management team. I've put quite a few artists my way, like the Bellamy Brothers and people like that, Steve Warner. And I just reached out, and I didn't go through Gary, which I thought to myself, why have I gone the long way around? Let's go through Gary, you know. But I know Gary had gone on to his, because he hosts the wine cellar sessions. That's isn't right, it? Yeah. Which are brilliant. I mean, catch that on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good. And like I say, what a genuine guy. I did manage to see him at the C2C during the day, when it used to be the Brooklyn Bowl. Yes. And I managed to see him there. But yeah, brilliant talent, and like I said, really good guy to talk to, and you can tell he's not false as well, which is cool.
He's not. I mean, the classic example, we were over in Nashville back in 2019. Gary Quinn, myself, we'd gone over there to play at the Bluebird Cafe.
Wow.
So we were in town. We'd done the show. Sort of just text Phil to say, look, we're in town. If you want to like grab some food. And he said, oh, I'm doing a show over at the Ryman. you guys should come on over. So we he got us backstage, and we're at the Ryman, which is obviously the original Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
And then when he played the Glasgow show, we did a duet together, and he was like, "Hey, you should get up and sing with me." And I was like, "Hang on a minute, I'm going to sing at the Bluebird and the Ryman in the space of 48 hours." And sure enough, he called me on up, and
What?
I stood on the Ryman Auditorium and duetted with Phil Vassar, and that's something I will never forget. And to him, it was probably just, oh, it's fine, come on.
Yeah, come on.
But I think he really knew what that meant to me, which is what made it all the more special. Because he wouldn't have been doing that song, if, with it being a duet. And he just went, come on, come and sing it with me. So yeah.
You can dine on that for a long time.
That's it. I was like, you can kill me now. I'm happy.
But the next time it'll be you getting Phil Vassar up with you.
Well, this is what I said to him. I said, I need to get the Opry, and that's my hat trick.
Everyone loves a tryer.
Absolutely.
I must have been watching in interest the Opry live session, certainly from lockdown onwards, and now they're getting the crowd back in, I have to laugh though. Pretty much every other week it's Vince Gill, because you're busy, Vince. No, would you like to come? Yeah, I'll come through.
Yeah, funnily enough, he was on when we went. Actually, as I think he's one of the staples.
That was the reason why. That was the reason why I first went to the very first C2C, because an old friend of mine, God bless him, he's passed away now, and he came up to me, he said, "Have you got Vince Gill tickets?" I went, "What? I was like, Manic, why? What? And he said, he's on at C2C. I said, what's that? He told me, and he went, are you on O2? I said, yes. He said, get on. Anyway, because I was on my own, because I was doing a couple of shows on the South Coast on the Sunday, on the Saturday, because it was only 2 days then. I got 4 rows from the front centre.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And I fell in love with, obviously, Little Big Town. Christian Bush opened up. Little Big Town was like, what? And then Vince Gill come on. And he just unassuming, Bob Harris just said, hey, and I thought, who's that guy behind him? He had this old man's coat on. It was just Vince Gill. He said, there you go, guitar slinger. And then after that, and again, for me, the ones I've seen there, it knocked her out the park. Tim McGraw. Totally. I wasn't a big fan, but from that on, I went, wow.
Yeah.
This guy is a superstar.
I had the same experience when we were there. Marty Stewart was playing.
Yes.
And I'd heard of him, but wouldn't have ever said that I'd listened to his stuff. And he blew me away. He was fantastic. He was singing with his, I think they're called the Fabulous Superlatives or something like that.
Yeah.
It's real old school, like 4-part harmony. And it was actually one of the highlights of the whole weekend for me.
I've got the signed CD. I've got the signed CD.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, he was fantastic. But that's the thing with country music. Like, there's always something to discover. Just when you think you've heard everybody, and that's the beauty of festivals like Buckle and Boots and like the Long Road and FSA. There's always new people to be discovered. That was me a few years ago, and it's such a fantastic experience. You go along with your friends, you think you know who you're going to see, and you're driving home with a bag full of CDs from all these new artists that you're going to follow. It's just great. It really is.
I've just linked in with like T-Bay's PR people who kindly reached out, and it's a great thing for Cat Radio as well, because they have a lot of artists, not just country, but they've got like Keith Urban and people like that on it. And he said, well, we're like community radio more than the bigger things, and he's just sent me an email just before we've gone on air of all the new tracks come out. I thought, wow, what have I bitten off here? But it's really good. And like I said, with Nashville, and again, I must admit, and I said this quite a lot I've never been.
Wow.
I should have gone in April. It was my 60th birthday in April, and I should have gone. Obviously, with COVID, I couldn't. So there's a bucket list at the back, coming up again. It's pending. But like I said, the Phil Vassars and Steve Warreners and all these people who are going, when you come, give us a call. Let's hang. And I'm going to need a month for all these artists. Like George Dukas is another great friend now, and he and he was saying, yeah, give us a shout. You've got to come over. I thought, I'm going to need at least 3 or 4 weeks if I ever go over. I mean, belly's going to be like that because I'll be eating so much, stuff.
You better believe it.
I know. But like going back to the present now, you're out gigging. I know you've been out gigging because you just played one of my favorite places Phoenix Rebels, the Leisure Lakes over in Southport. That's about 20 miles from me. And I obviously met them long before they've celebrated their 22nd year this week.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
We knew them long before them because we all used to go to the Riverside, which is back to back with them. And that was going for 20 odd years. And there were other Westerners there. And that's where I did my very first gig on a Sunday, and all the Westerners just lined up and shot me at the end. And then you think to yourself, I don't think I've got a great career going forward. But they said it was their way of saying, well done.
Yeah.
And I had to check whether they were real bullets, because I thought, I'll have a drink if there's any water coming out my stomach. I know. But ever since then, we became, Julie and Fred have always been great friends. And I think I'm on there in February, I think. But they used to let me practice just getting my sound right when I had a duo. They used to let us have the free run of the place, and obviously it's changed a little bit now. But I saw your name, but I couldn't make it. And I thought, oh my God! But yeah, it's a place and a half.
It certainly is. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the last gigs I did whilst we were still under restrictions.
Yeah.
But even with people having to sit down and with table service, and it was so well run. It was so well organised. People were still able to dance because they had the grid system on the dance floor. And I was like, this just goes to show that it's going to take more than a pandemic to stop these folks having a dance.
they've gone through, like my mum, she says, I'm 84, been through a world war, I don't care anymore, But I'm like, Mum, you can't go out, put your mask on. But I'll tell you a story about Phoenix Rebels. I was very fortunate in 2014 to do a tour, support and sound and whatever, with James House. Yeah. And I know Gary had linked in a little bit as well with him, but there was him, Luke Thomas, Mel, and all them. And we did about 19 dates. Well, one of the dates was Phoenix Rebels. And it was around about this time, around really hot and steamy. And Brian Smith, who's no longer his manager, but Brian's very connected, likes to John Berry, and he looks after all those people. And we're in the changing room, and then they do the trilogy. So they come out of the change room, and basically the jaws dropped on the floor. They went, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I went, he said, I can't take any photographs, because obviously, they can't, because it'll ruin their career because of the the political sort of significance of that. So, and they don't think they meant, why have we got no photographs on his website? It's a long story. But I had to phone every venue, then said, have you got any Confederate flags up on your wall before we come? Yeah. Can you take them off? Yeah. This is like, I remember doing Breen Sands, and they had to put these big flags that I'd got a Union Jack and the Stars and Stripes sewn together for Brian and for James. So then all the acts who supporting, not just me but all the others, sign it as a keepsake for him. So I'm putting these over the Confederate. But what was really good was, and I think it's still there, they kidnapped James and threw him in that little jail.
Yeah, I know the one.
They threw me in with him, but they threw him, and he's looking at me and going, just go with it, James, or else they'll shoot you. Really? I went, yeah. but it's, as I said, it's a good thing. Like I said, that it's starting to move, and like I say, Buckland Boots is this weekend, and I think you can probably still get tickets if you look at the Buckland Boots. I think it's .co.uk, Buckle and Boots. Right. .co.uk. And I've been promoting it here. I think I played everybody last week. Everybody who was on got a play on there. But no, I'll be looking forward to seeing you. But what else is in the future? Just to finish off, what's in the pipeline for you?
Well, with me sort of just releasing the EP, I think it's just looking to keep playing the new music and sharing the new material. I've got a few other festivals coming up. I've got a tour coming up later in the year with the amazing Jade Helliwell, who is another fantastic female singer on the country scene. We're doing a co-headline tour, Girl Country UK tour, and that starts in November. So for all tickets and information on where I'm playing, you just need to go to keziagill.com, and it's all there.
I'll hopefully catch up with you. That sounds really good. So obviously the EP, have you wrote sort of other things that's not even been released yet, and you're itching to get it released?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always thinking about the next project. That's kind of my problem. But I think having released the EP, which is obviously 6 songs, I want to give this little project its own space. So I won't be rushing to release any new music in the near future. But yeah, I never stop writing. I'm always bouncing with ideas, and I've got some co-writes coming up in the future as well. So I'd probably be looking sort of early next year to start thinking about bringing out some new music. But for now, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labour.
I just remembered then you mentioned obviously the tour in Australia, and obviously the Tamworth Country Festival.
Yeah.
You don't live that far from Tamworth, isn't it weird?
Do you know, it's so funny. I remember when they very first announced that tour, and they were putting all the PR and all the press together for the announcement. And part of that is to just send us out the posters, make sure we're all happy before they announce. And it was Laura sent us the posters, and it said Buckle and Boots presents the tour with Gary Quinn, Jade Helliwell, Darcy, Tamworth. And I was like, you're going to have to put Tamworth, Australia, because people are just going to think we're going to Tamworth. So I emailed Laura back and I went, you need to put Tamworth, Australia. And she went, you know, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I went, trust me, people will not be impressed if you think we're going on tour to Tamworth.
Well, I've been interviewing a few Australian artists like Adam Harvey and a number of others over there. And they were saying about this Tamworth Festival, and some of them had done the UK tour. And I said, have you been to Tamworth? He said, yeah, we've been going through Tamworth. And we're going, this is a bit familiar, you know. But yeah, they mentioned obviously it's a great it's a great festival as well, which I thought was quite
I think it's the biggest in Australia. I think or certainly one of. It's kind of their C2C, but it goes on for about 10 days. And they have the Golden Guitar Awards, which are their kind of big country music awards. And, you know, you can do everything from buskers just jamming in the street to Keith Urban performing at the town hall. So it really is. It was an incredible experience. It was just so hot. 48 degrees.
What?
And I'm a ginger. 48 degrees. It was so warm that Jade and I had to perform barefoot, because obviously we packed all our boots and you have to wear thick socks. And it was just the quickest way to cool down was to take shoes off. So there's photos of us dancing around the stage with bare feet because it was just so warm.
Well, these experiences, it's all part of your foundation of your career, isn't it? It's we learn, like you're saying, constantly learning, doing, reaching out. And again, with the media platforms now, people in Australia can get your music all over the world, you know, Nashville, whatever. And I really, I've got a good vibe that you're going to have a really great career going forward as well. Although you've had a great career up to now, I still think it's going to go even higher. And again, with this new project, I wish you all the very best. And I can't wait to meet up with you on Sunday.
Thank you so much. I really look forward to it.
Yeah, you take care.
Thank you.
All the very best. Bye-bye. There you go.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Was that all okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I'll edit. Like I said, I'll edit most of this and I'll just piece it all together. I'll send you the links. The Cat Country, there is an app, which is probably the easiest one now for Cat. It's just the Cat 107.9.
Okay.
And it'll be on tomorrow.
Pop it on in an email with the times, and I'll put a little social media post together.
Cool. Yeah, and again,
fantastic.
Once it's gone through the radio thing, I'll put it on the YouTube channel probably by the end of the week, or if not, beginning of next week. And again, I'll send you all the links to that, and hopefully get a couple of little video footages to it. I might insert it. I might leave it actually till next week. And if I'm at Buckle and Boots, I might catch. It might not be the music; it might just be some stills to interject into the the video.
I'll make a point of seeking you out on Sunday, definitely.
I stand out like a sore thumb. I'm 6'2".
You and me both.
I'm 6'2". You know, I'll probably be like that with the sort of media wand thing. But no, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to speak to Donna now.
Donna Zanetti.
Yeah.
Oh, she's my manager.
I know, and I got a phone call, and you know him, Al Hardman. You know Al. It's one of Wayne's friends.
Ah, yes.
Well, we all hang out, and like I said yesterday, I announced I'm chatting to you. He phoned me up out of the blue yesterday afternoon, and he said, "I've got a number of Donna Zanetti." I said, "Who's that?" Well, it's Kezia's manager. I said, "Oh, cool. Yeah, but she's got this media thing going on, and she'd like to speak to you a little bit more about other artists. And she's going over to Nashville." And I said, "Oh, cool." Found out she's been a friend on Facebook for a while.
Yeah, she's an incredible person. She's incredibly driven, and I'm so glad she's finally launched this sort of media company that she's doing. So,
but
yeah,
even more special, she's part of the Liverpool Football Club thing. So,
well, this is it. This is it. You see,
I'm a huge fan. Do you know, next Wednesday, a week this Wednesday, I fly over Anfield in a helicopter, which was part of my 60th birthday present from my daughters.
Oh, how wonderful.
Well, I said I'll do it after she gets married on Friday, my oldest one. I said I'll do it after the wedding because you never know.
Well, when it comes to helicopters.
You never know, do you? So I'm hoping the weather's not going to be thundering and lightning and stuff. But I said to Donna, I'm going, oh, brilliant. And I said, I could talk for hours for Liverpool. I said, I've done.
Oh, well, you'll be in good company there for sure.
When she said, oh, yeah, Jurgen Klopp's my boss, I said, I know all about it. Alice told me. But no, I say, enjoy the rest of your day. And I said, look forward and good luck on Friday as well, the buckle.
Yeah, thank you. And good luck at the wedding. I wish her all the best.
I've got my dad's speech all lit. I'm going to make a squirm. But
good man.
Hey, all the best, you love.
See you Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.